People in the bar would later say they felt the shift the instant it happened. The music seemed to fade into the background, conversations thinned, and a quiet instinct warned that something dangerous had entered the room. Yet the danger wasn't. The tall Marine staggering toward the counter with a heavy, careless swagger. It was the silent woman seated alone beneath the flicker of neon, her fingers loosely wrapped around a drink she hadn't touched. She appeared small, unassuming, almost fragile. That illusion was her greatest defense. Her name was Riley Hart, though no one there knew it. To them, she was just another traveler passing through a lonely highway town. In truth, she was an undercover Special Forces operative, deep inside a classified mission that had already cost her sleep, left her nursing a cracked rib, and weighed on her more heavily than she would ever admit. Tonight was meant to be simple, a brief exchange of information. 5 quiet minutes with a contact she had spent months cultivating. She hadn't planned for trouble. She never wanted it. But trouble had a habit of finding her anyway. Marine. It was broad-shouldered, his eyes sharp with frustration, his breath heavy with whiskey. He'd already consumed more than he should have, and the bartender's warning glances went completely ignored. His attention locked onto Riley with the restless intensity of someone desperate to prove something, maybe to himself, maybe to the world. Riley noticed him long before he reached her table. She always did. Awareness had been drilled into her through years of training and missions in hostile places. She felt the tension rolling off him, thick and hot, but kept her posture loose, and her expression calm. "Hey," he slurred, leaning an arm against her table. "You ignoring me?" Riley lifted her eyes, her voice steady and polite. "I'm just waiting for someone, lucky person," he said with a crooked grin. "You could talk to me till they get here." She shook her head gently. Not tonight. He wasn't used to hearing no. His jaw tightened, and the hum of the bar seemed to drop another notch. At first, he didn't touch her. Instead, he muttered sharp, cutting words under his breath, just loud enough to save his pride. Riley let them pass. She'd been trained to disengage, to walk away. God. But when she stood to leave, his hand shot out and clamped around her wrist. That was when the bar seemed to exhale. Riley didn't pull away. Her heartbeat stayed calm. Only, her eyes changed, just a flicker of cold focus that few would recognize. "Let go," she said quietly. "Or what?" He barked. "You gonna cry?" "Slap me. Go on." A few patrons stood up. Someone muttered, "Man, leave her alone." The Marine ignored them and tightened his grip. Riley stepped closer, her face inches from his. She didn't raise her voice. "I said let go." He laughed and shoved her. The next moment, his world went dark. Riley moved faster than most eyes could track. A sharp twist broke his grip. Shift of her weight stole his balance. A precise strike beneath his collarbone numbed his arm instantly. He hit the floor before his mind could catch up with what had happened. Gasps rippled through the bar. Riley didn't boast or gloat. She simply stepped back, watching as he groaned and rolled onto his side, stunned. "What? What are you?" he rasped. Before she could answer, the front door burst open. 2 men in civilian jackets rushed in her. Contact and the tail she hadn't shaken. The meeting had arrived early, too early. What had been a simple exchange had just become exposure. Risk, everything she had worked to avoid. One of the men spotted her and froze. Riley reacted without hesitation. She grabbed the Marine by the collar and dragged him behind her as a gunshot cracked through the room, the bullet slamming into the bar counter. Screams erupted, chairs scraped. People dove for cover. The Marine stared at her, disbelief written across his face. "What is happening? Stay down," she ordered. The voice was no longer gentle. It carried authority, the sound of someone who had commanded in far worse places than this. She flipped the table and crouched behind it as another shot tore into the wall. Her mind raced through angles, exits, civilians. She had seconds to keep the chaos from turning lethal. "You armed?" she asked. He blinked, shame flashing across his face. "Not tonight." "Then do exactly what I say." Riley leaned out, spotted the gunman, and made her move. She sprinted sideways, using an overturned pool table as cover. A bullet whistled past her, missing by inches. The shooter advanced. Overconfident and impatient, perfect. Riley vaulted the bar, grabbed a metal shaker, and hurled it with lethal accuracy. It struck the gunman in the temple. He staggered. That pause was all she needed. She slammed into him, drove him to the floor, and disarmed him with ruthless efficiency. The second man bolted for the door. Riley chased him down, yanked him back, and pinned him against the wall with her forearm at his throat. "Who sent you?" she demanded. His eyes stayed defiant. He said nothing. "Fine." One sharp strike to the jaw dropped him unconscious. Silence settled over the bar, again heavy, shaking silence. People slowly emerged from hiding. The bartenders. Hands trembled as he called emergency services. Riley stood amid the wreckage, her chest rising and falling, her mission in ruins. The Marine approached carefully, hands raised. His eyes were wide. "Your special forces," he whispered. She met his gaze, something softer breaking through the professional mask. He swallowed hard, shame flooding his face. "I didn't know. I know," she said. "But you still don't put your hands on someone who says no." He nodded, head bowed. "You're right." For the first time, Riley saw past the aggression and into the truth beneath it. Pain, fear, a man quietly drowning behind bravado. She'd seen it before, in teammates, enemies, and herself. "What's your name?" she asked. "Daniel," he said. "Daniel Cole." "Well, Daniel," she replied gently, "tonight could have been a lot worse." His eyes filled. Not from pain, but from something deeper. "Why didn't you hurt me more? You could have killed me." "Because you're not my enemy," she said. And anger doesn't fix what's broken. When the authorities arrived, statements were taken, and the attackers led away. Riley shared only what she had to, protecting what remained of her mission. When it was over, she stepped outside into the cold night air. Daniel followed her. "I'm sorry," he said quietly. She nodded. "Get help. You're not as lost as you think." He wiped his eyes. "Will I see you again?" "Probably not," she said with a small smile. "But don't forget tonight." "I won't." "Good," Riley said. "Then be better than the man you were an hour ago." She walked off into the darkness, back into a life of secrets and danger that never allowed her peace. Daniel Cole remained on the sidewalk long after she disappeared, hands shaking, heart pounding. Realizing that sometimes the people who save you aren't who you expect, and sometimes the battles that change your life happen far from any